And the federal government says it has set aside 15 billion naira for micro, small and medium enterprises to help youth who are willing to go into agro-business for national development. Minister of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otunbani Adebayo, said these at the unveiling of the I-Produce Agric Business Hub in Abuja. The minister says the government is committed to encouraging young entrepreneurs to be self-sufficient and create employment.
Let's bring the founder of I-Produce Agric Business Hub, Aisha Umar. She joins us now to really take a look at the conversation that was had there. Thank you so much, Aisha, for being here. Looking at the fact that you're talking about the government intervention to MSMEs, especially as the country continues to battle COVID-19. I know that the CBN had released about 50 billion naira for this group of business owners. Really, it's a really battle, and so a lot of business don't go under. And now another 15 billion by the Ministry of Trade and Investment. But yet, a lot of the small business owners you meet will tell you we don't have access to this credit facility. So where's the disconnect in all of this? The government releases the funds, but it doesn't get to the people. So where does the money go?
Thank you very much for having me. Well, you've just described the issue. Is that the government does put aside funds to support SMEs, to support agriculture, but there is a disconnect in the access basically to this financing. It's rather complicated, and it's compounded mainly by the fact that a lot of people do not understand the processes, and they need hand-holding to be able to access these funds. As you know, accessing funds, loans, the documentation is required, etc. So this is the reason why I think a lot of people don't end up accessing these the funds.
So how can it be made easier? Really, sorry, it's just a follow-up, because you're not saying it that it's a cumbersome process. But if you're talking about small, medium enterprises, you're talking rural women who are thinking of selling a little commodity or going to the farm, coming up with, a little subsistence farming here to really support her family. So who is responsible to ensuring that she's able to get all that is necessary to get access to these grants?
Well, I think the thing is we have state actors, we have non-state actors. The state actors, that is the federal government, the institutions, the ministries, etc. I think they're the ones that come up with the policies, funds are available, but the non-state actors have a role to play. Civil society has a role to play. Private sector has a role to play. And so therefore, they also have to up their game. And that's where the issue of training comes in, creating awareness, etc.
Absolutely. I mean, excuse me, the issue of training is very germane here when it comes to skills acquisition or retraining of, maybe somebody who studied engineering wants to move into agro business and the rest because of the value chains and the rest. I mean, averagely, how does I-Produce, for example, help in that area together with other agencies like ND and the rest, the National Directorate of Employment, in helping to train startup agro-business entrepreneurs? Okay,
so essentially what you've just said is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to create an ecosystem, bringing together the various players. Like you said, we have, the agencies, government agencies that are supposed to implement the policies. Yeah. We also have the financial institutions that are supposed to disburse and actually manage the loans or the grants and so on and so forth. Then we also have the trainers, and that is a business advisory business advisors, etc. Now, aside from them, we also have to teach the people or the beneficiaries, the target beneficiaries, have to understand what is going on. So the business, what I-Produce is trying to do is to bring all the players together under one platform and form an ecosystem where we can engage with one another. That is bringing the matchmaking them together, and most importantly, trying to unpack the entire process so that everyone understands what they need to do. As you know, agriculture is huge.
Massive, indeed.
Massive, exactly. So what we've done in I-Produce is also select the most lucrative value chains. We've selected 4 value chains. One is the livestock, which right now, aside from the fact that it's a lucrative business, there are also huge issues that have caused problems in the country. So I think that's an issue. And then there's been so many attempted intervention in livestock, but for some reason it hasn't caught on. So what we're trying to do is to bring in a different approach, if you like. We want to bring technology, we want to bring in finance in order to make it a proper business. That's number one. The second value chain is the organic fruit and vegetables value chain. This is massive. Internationally, it is the $780 billion now on organic. And why? Because of the health and safety reasons. Nigeria has abundance of fruits and vegetables.
But quite unfortunate the situation. I really need to jump in here because when you're talking about organic produce, if you see all the GMOs and everything happening all around the world with all of the diseases that researchers are still trying to find their origin, we have it good here in the country. But unfortunately, the Nigerian farmer, when they go into the bush, get all this produce out there into the international market, a lot of them get turned back into the country. So what are you doing in this I-Produce Hub really to check that? So that way we're not just producing for our own consumption, but we're exporting for that much needed forex into the country.
Thank you. Yes, so basically what I-Produce is trying to do first and foremost is to do a proper market survey of international markets and find out the highest, precisely, the ones in demand, number one. Secondly, we also want to train our farmers on the phytosanitary standards, because this is where we have a huge problem, is lack of understanding of standards. If you're going to go into a market, you need to understand your market. You need to know the preferences and you need to know the specs. So those specifications are the standards. It includes not just the health and safety standards, also the technical, which means the packaging, things like rule of origin. If you don't label properly, your things will get your goods will get rejected. So these are the little details that we need to pay attention to in order to be successful in exports.
Absolutely, branding is a major problem in Nigerian businesses, particularly when it comes to export, like you said. But let me take you back to issues of cooperatives, because most of the people you're dealing with, like the smallholder farmers, for example, are not highly educated as to be able to form a cooperative, put up a proposal, you understand, maybe to the Bank of Agric, to the CBN for its own intervention loans and the rest. In what area do you think people like this can be helped without being cheated and to have access to the loans away again from the humongous collaterals that are demanded?
Well, actually, you see, the advantage of the cooperative is that they guarantee each other, and that way you can actually get your loans without having land or collateral. So what I-Produce is trying to do is to create that platform where they register, become members. As members of I-Produce, we will have their particulars. We are indirectly forming them into a group, and that way they can come forward as a group. These young people, we're targeting the youth, by the way, because I think the young people grab technology faster. You understand? So anybody who does not know what a hashtag is probably should just go into, but that's why I say, I'm not saying it's youth, only the youth, but we're just saying that yes, we want the young people. We will help them form themselves into group. We will give them targeted technical expertise in specific areas, because the devil is in the detail. When you're doing business, you have to be very thorough and methodical and detailed. Attention to details is key, especially when you want to brand and package for the international market. Would have to say thank you so much, Aisha Umar, the founder, I-Produce Agric Business Hub. Thank you for joining us tonight. And well done for all you're doing, really.